let's talk about the quarterbacks, though, because part of the reason that Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter might not go number one is if you need a quarterback, there's two guys, right? And it feels like the consensus is starting to form that it's Cam Ward, then Shedeur Sanders. That's how you have it. You have Cam Ward number one in your mock draft. So walk me through your evaluation of those two guys in the order.
Cam's been fascinating to watch because this is somebody that really wasn't a recruit. He goes to Incarnate Ward. He's the best player at that level. He transfers up. At Washington State, he was kind of a wild man, one of the most fun players to watch in college football.
I feel like he was still that at Miami,
and
by the way.
And he carried that to Miami, but I will say, and it was a small amount, but the big big throw percentage, NFL level throws that you grade out, that percentage went up. And the turnover-worthy play percentage did go down. Now, was it to the level that you'd want for an NFL prospect? Maybe not yet, but the trajectory is on the right pathway, right? He's not like one of these guys like Caleb Williams, I thought was better 2 years before his draft year.
Yeah.
Right? For Cam has always gotten better throughout the course of the year. NFL teams now, the more I talk to them, they are gravitating towards guys that have played a ton of college football. They're so scared of these one-year wonders, or they realize that the one-year wonders really need to sit for a year, and that's hard to sell to ownership.
Right, especially if you're taking with a really high pick.
As you take a guy number one and you go, hey, we'll play it 2 years from now. It's just not that world doesn't exist, right? So for Cam Ward, you're not drafting him and sitting him. Like the development, he has played so much college football, and yes, you need to.
I kind of love this trend though. Because,
me too. I think it's great for the players.
I agree. And, they're actually super experienced. Like, Michael Penix Jr.
Perfect call-out.
Everyone was like, he's so old. I was like, yeah, but he's played so much football.
Played a lot of college football.
Have you watched him?
Two, multiple injuries, but torn knees. Like, there was a lot going on there. It's funny when you talk about age and context. There's a bad narrative in the draft world of, this guy's a 24-year-old prospect.
Makes us feel a little bit old.
You can't take him. Yeah, right? Oh, so old at 24. What we would do. And then you look at it and go, well, did you know this, and this about his college career? Or he transferred here and he broke out here. Like that, then that age doesn't matter. It's not like he's 25, now he's dominating at the FCS level. That's a different conversation. So, yeah, I think Cam, he's got a big arm, really well built. He's not the tallest guy, but tall enough. But he's thick where when he does run a little bit, he can take hits if he needs to. His best ability, though, is extending plays. There's a difference between runners and scramblers. Cam is a scrambler. He likes to extend the play, keep his eyes downfield, make special throws, different arm angles.
Really, all of his highlights are that. Kind of like
which
keeping
is
a play alive.
Good and bad.
Yeah.
Right? There's times where you want him, and I think he did a better job of this in Miami. Settle into the offense when your first two reads aren't there. Do you know where your outlet is? And just let the ball check the ball down and live to die another day is what they like to say. He got better at that. It's still a thing with him where, oh man, Cam Ward's been running around 8 seconds. He cut the fumbles down. Fumbles at Washington State were a massive issue. And that's what happens when you're just running around, obviously.
And it was also just him, right?
You're trying to be Superman.
Yeah.
And when you're at that program, maybe you felt like I have to be if we're going to win the game. I think Caleb had that issue his last year at USC. It's like, if I don't put up 40 points today, we're not going to even be in the game.
And there was a little bit of that at Miami. Again, like you're saying, he kind of addressed his weaknesses. But, they didn't have a defense either. So he also was scoring a lot. And they would have been in the playoff if they had just a half-decent defense.
Mediocre defense gets them
mediocre.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though, because of what you said about him addressing his deficiencies. He did declare for the draft last year and then quickly was like, actually, no. Right. And then it was back to the college sweepstakes. But I remember thinking, look at next year's draft class, the quarterbacks. And now he has an opportunity to be QB1. So let's talk about Shedeur Sanders. Why right now you have him as your second quarterback off the board and not number one.
Physically, he's just not in the same tier as Cam Ward, whether it's arm strength, size. I think Cam's a little bit better of a runner. Shedeur's just not a runner, right? He's another guy. He can scramble a little bit and reset the pocket, but he's not somebody that you're looking like, hey, can you give us 50 rushing yards today and we can script some plays for you?
He was more just staying alive behind that offensive line.
Right, and I think he developed some bad habits of holding the ball at times and trying to make the big play all the time, and the offensive line wasn't built to give him that kind of time. So the sack percentage, that needs to go down. You can't take that many sacks. And people will be like, well, the offense, it's not always the offensive line. There's times where whether you're seeing pressure pre-snap or he just took way too many sacks. So that's going to be a big thing for him. I don't think he's ever going to be the most physically imposing guy on the field when you look at some of these quarterbacks that, whether it is they're running or throwing, and it's not just the aliens like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. That's not fair. But you look at the arm strength. In terms of average arm strength in the NFL, I think Shedeur would maybe be slightly below average arm strength, so that's going to play into it as well. I did think he got better throwing outside the numbers this year. That was something when I watched him over summer, I said, man, there's not a lot of throws down the field outside the numbers or intermediate outside the numbers. That was something that got better this year. So he's going to be a first-round pick. I still think he goes in the top 10. It's just a matter of Shedeur will kind of beat you more so with his mind and how he sees the field, and he's accurate. Like that's a great
accurate
aspect for a quarterback when you're accurate like that. But I think you get more upside with Cam, and teams in the NFL, they chase upside at the most important position.
Anytime I would tweet about Shedeur, Colorado, I would get Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire in my DMs being like, he'd be my top pick. He'd be my top quarterback. Like, he just was so impressed with him and preparing for him when they would play him and watch him in Big 12 play.